Hello, friends. My name is Romel Nagori, and I welcome you all to our show, The Plymart Show. The theme of this show is conventional businesses, unconventional methods. And on this show, we are going to invite people from the interior industry who has made a mark for themselves by using unconventional methods. In this show, we are going to know about their journey in detail. We are going to know about themselves, and we are going to know about their thought process. And today in this show, we have architect Jwalant Mahadevwala with us. Jwalant, along with his partner Kanika Agarwal, started Andblack Design Studio in 2012. Over the past 13 years, they have done more than 50 plus projects ranging from schools, farmhouses, banks, cultural centers, and installation of lot of complex art pieces. Thank you, Jwalant, for coming down to our show. Thank you so much. I welcome you over here. So, Jwalant, talk to us about your journey. Like, पहले से आपको ये था कि आर्किटेक्चर फील्ड में आना था या फिर बिकॉज ऑफ सम सर्कमस्टांसेस यू एंडेड अप ओवर हियर?
uh, most of the people, if you talk about circumstances, come to architecture only because they have bad marks. But for me, architecture happened because my father is a structure engineer,
Okay.
and at that point of time, structure engineers also did a lot of designing themselves because there were not that many architects. So there was always an interest with this kind of work. I traveled with him over weekends to sites, so I used to play with a lot of cement and reti and kapchi and bricks, and that became kind of a playground as a kid.
Okay.
Luckily, I would say that time we didn't have, we were not spoilt with so many toys. So that became kind of a place where I really looked forward.
Okay.
You climb kapchi near,
Playing
the
in the
heap
sand.
or sand, and then
And there was no distraction. Like
there was-
mobile phones were not there.
there was no distraction, but it was just very fascinating as a child because you could make things. See, even today, you give Lego to a child, the fascination is about making something. So I got super fascinated by about making things and stuff like that, and I was decent enough with my drawings. So I think it was a lot of like a gradual thing which happened as architect. I never decided what I wanted to become because back of my mind it was always that my life will lead me to become an architect.
Okay. So you had options, or it was a very straight this thing that no, okay, there's only one stream. I want to go to
I had no
architecture.
options. I had no option, as I said. I never thought of which now if I think would be criminal, that or kuch socha nahi. But I think I had no option. It was just a natural choice that I want to become an architect.
Perfect, superb, too good. So tell us, Jwalant, I've heard about you that a lot of times you draw inspiration from everywhere, like all the things nearby you. So tell us about the thought process that whenever you are designing any interior for the end client, so what all things go in your mind?
So I would say not only interiors, we do architecture, we do furniture, we do art installations. Inspiration, when we say we get from everywhere, mainly I get super excited, more than inspired. I get super excited when I look at a material, when I try to that process of figuring out that okay, if it's wood, how do I start to bend it? How do I join it in a manner where it starts to perform in a certain way? How would patterns emerge in nature? How do we try and understand those patterns? um, how do you stretch the boundary of a material it has been used conventionally? So those kind of things really excite me. So my my nature or growing up thing where I loved building things has kind of you know influenced me in a manner. Even today I want to keep building something. And as an architect or as a designer, you get involved in the thought process of building only when you want to develop something new. Because if you are doing something which has already been done before, you already have drawings for it, your people already know how to do, the office already knows how to do, your carpenters, fabricators, everybody knows how to do it. So you just have to do what has been done. But the moment that figuring out comes into picture, you get involved. And that is what excites me. So I get inspired by a lot of things I see around because I see an opportunity to break the status quo or an opportunity to develop something new.
So one interesting thing that you mentioned, that you always try and change the boundaries of the, try and enlarge the boundaries of the existing material. So how do you do that particular thing? Can you talk us more about that thing?
I don't know how I do that. I think one thing I do is I don't get too quickly satisfied with what I do, or what my first thoughts are. I keep thinking about it for a decent period of time, in terms of permutation combinations, in terms of what are the ways I can deal with it, what are the ways I can approach a problem, what are the ways I can create new problems for myself.
Okay.
Because unless you challenge yourself, you are within a very comfortable boundary.
True.
And comfort is something which can very quickly make your work and your life very mundane. So there is always this need of becoming slightly uncomfortable, changing your scenario a little bit, and that's what leads to a lot of things we do.
Superb. Nice. So tell us something about this thing called as parametric design, and how do you incorporate it in your designs?
So for a layman, parametric design is something where a design evolves out of parameters or relations you set.
Okay.
Right? Now, with our designs, and I would not say every design, but a lot of our work revolves around geometry. Now, the moment I talk about geometry, there is always a relation, right? So let's say if I talk about a rectangle, and if I say, okay, in this rectangle, the width should be half the length, right? So I have set a relation of that rectangle. Now, whatever size I make that length to be, the breadth will automatically change because I've set a relation in my head. Okay, this is how it should be. Parametric design is a lot more complex interactions of what I'm describing. So if it's something where I say that, okay, there is a square panel, and the next panel will be 10 degrees rotated and then move this much, the next will be 9 degrees rotated and move. So it will start to create a pattern. Now I can stimulate this pattern. I can work with these patterns. I can work with these logics. That, when you put it in design, is called parametric design. The larger word for parametric design is actually computational design. But over the last 15 years, parametric design has become a buzzword. And you see a lot of this kind of interactions and a lot of this kind of geometries in everything which nature does.
Yes.
So there are all the patterns. Any pattern you say, even if it's a square grid, it's parametric. But are you approaching it like this, or does it just look like that? Then it starts to, so those questions come into picture. So I can take a flower, and an artist can just paint that flower as it is. So that probably is not parametric design because the logics are not used. But someone who says that, no, I will understand this and try and create a logic out of it, try and distort the logic out of it, try and control the logic, and then work around it, then it starts to move towards an idea of how parameters are defining design.
Okay. So in nature also we see this ratio called as golden ratio, where a lot of things are designed in a way. So it is a sort of, you can say, a parametric design, or it's a complex version. So parametric design is a complex version of.
No, I see. I wouldn't say nature is parametric design.
Okay.
Nature is already beyond design. Because nature's the rules are complex and the layers of that complexity keeps increasing. So golden ratios are everywhere. Our face is golden ratio, our body is golden ratio, trees are golden ratio, leaves are golden ratio. But within golden ratio also, there are a lot of nuances which vary different things. When we take that into design and parameterize it, then it becomes parametric design.
Okay.
So directly taking golden ratio and just putting few numbers probably will not be. But if I create a system, so we did this project called Bucky's Gallery,
Oh, nice.
and the entire structure is based out of or it's a folded triangulated panels. Now we have that structure about 11 meters in diameter. But if I want to make it 18 meters in diameter, I don't need to draw anything again. I don't need to, replan it. We have set parametric rules, which I can tweak and increase the size of the dome. And then that goes into manufacturing.
Okay.
So something which you develop, which is not purely a design, but which is a logic which can output as a design, is what a strength of parametric design is.
Nice. So I didn't knew about this this Bucky's cafe, that it was designed by you. So tell us about that cafe. Like, was the problem, or was the was it already given? You have to design it in such way, or you had a free hand over that, and was it conveyed to you that these are the certain parameters and you need to work over on these parameters only, or it was a free hand?
It was a free hand, but what was given to us was very exciting, that it has to be a transportable structure. It needs to house art. It needs to be done in such a manner that if it is moved from one place to another place, you don't need heavy foundations or anything like that. So there were certain constraints in terms of criteria which were given to us. But those criteria didn't have that it has to be parametric design, or it has to be, resizable and all of that. But being from a background where this is, our everyday job to look at things like this, we started to explore it in this manner. There were various explorations we did. This was one of the explorations. And that led us to what we see now. And as we talk, it's being moved to another location currently.
Achha, it's been moved to...
It's been moved to another location. So what we set out for is happening, but the process was never determined by the client, because obviously they cannot determine those things. But being or knowing the power of what logic can do as design, this was an ideal playground for us to try, all of those things.
So were there any challenges involved in executing this particular project?
In this project, everything was challenging.
Okay.
Everything was challenging because it has never been done before. We do not have enough know-how within the industry to deliver something like this. So we became almost everything, all the fabrication drawings went from us. A lot of everything literally went,
because it had to be prepared from scratch. Like,
it had to be prepared. So how to even understand a drawing when you build something like this? What has to be given to whom? What has to be fabricated in, how it has to be fabricated. So there was a lot of trial and error. So it was a complete, you can say, to a core and experimental project. And one of the toughest I have done, because every screw, every bolt, every is something which we have thought of. So it is, there is nothing in this project which someone can say, okay, this is how you just do it. Like if you give a concrete drawing, you don't have to explain a contractor how to pour a concrete. But here,
you had to do
everything. Everything had to be done in a particular manner.
Nice, super. Tell us something about wood as a product. How do you see wood as a product?
For me, wood is more of a love than product. I think most of the things I do, the spaces we create, has a lot of wood. We have done a lot of work with wood in terms of art installations. Wood as a a material is it's so exciting because one can work with it. You know, the second most closest thing I can compare wood to as material is probably stone. I'd say. Because what you do if you just make a square surface, but if it's wood, then the pattern itself is is art, it's design. The way you put it together, two people will put it completely differently. The kind of some people work, they cut veneers, they do marquetry, they do inlays, some bend, some twists. Some people create carvings. Wood itself has so many craft inbuilt in them. The ternary wood is a craft. Carving is one. Some people will specialize only in temples. Some people will specialize only in making doors. Some people specialize only in making dining chairs in wood. So, with such a vast possibility as a material, and at the same time being natural, being something which will age in a particular way, will have a certain smell. I think it is given more to architecture and design as a material than anything else ever.
Nice. So lately I have heard about the articles related to the Loop series of furniture. So tell us something more about this Loop series furniture.
So Loop series, it's been I think about 6-7 years back. I did my first piece with which was part of which was the first piece of Loop, which we called the Loop bench. I had no clue we'll make a series out of it, but it was so architecture, which we do day in and day out, is a very slow process. It takes at least 2-3 years or more to do a house, to do a building, to finish it well, to make sure that what our first dream of that house or a project was, delivered in the end. And that does not always happen. There are certain heartbreaks, there are certain compromises, there are certain mistakes, whatever. With furniture, I had the liberty to experiment on my thoughts faster. I'm not saying that it is perfect in terms of what I think and what it delivers, but it's a much faster way to work on your ideas. We created our first piece and I set certain goals for not goals, but I would say a certain kind of a mental brief for myself that, okay, I want Loop series to be, or this particular Loop bench to be something which starts to question is a very, very strong word, but starts to define itself without the conventional form of designing what a furniture is. So whatever furniture you see here in this space, right, it will have a structure which is different. Let's say this chair. So I'm sitting on a fabric, but that fabric is not structural. Right? The fabric is on a plyboard, but the plyboard sits on a frame of wood or metal or whatever, in this case wood. We wanted to create a bench where the structure, the material, that whatever it is the same. That idea has continued throughout our Loop series to most of them. That the structure, the material, where you sit, the ergonomics, everything is part of the same material and the same loop. So we have not taken two surfaces and put together. If it's a loop, it's the same surface which is going. Most of the cases, that is what it is. So that started to create a nice problem to solve whenever you feel inspired. You felt inspired. So Loop series is something which we make a new product only when we want to make.
Oh, okay.
We don't make if we don't want to make. There is no client sitting on your head, no client to deliver to.
No set timeline.
No set timelines. We make hundreds and hundreds of sketches over a period of time, but we only make one out of that.
One.
Only if we want to make, we make. That has become into a business now for us, but still that idea continues. We don't make if we don't want to test it. I would not say I make only if I like the sketch, no. But if we feel that no, this is worth making, let's give it. We have made and discarded as well.
Oh.
Discard in the sense it just comes home and becomes part of the house or whatever that is. So we have discarded as well. We have made one, probably sold that, but then after 6 months we feel no, we should just stop that series. We should just we have done that as well. But it is purely a passion-driven, passion-driven idea which we want to continue like that, and to experiment on a scale which is rewarding us faster in terms of what we see.
So you are right now you're using what kind of materials for the loop series?
So we use birch ply for loop series.
Okay. So apart from the plywood, do you also use any other material?
No, we don't use any. We have another set of products where we they are not part of loop series. I think they're part of wave series where we color them and we paint them, and they are hand painted and all of that. That's where we use HDF or those kind of materials. We also use fiberglass for that. But our main furniture language at the moment is birch ply, because it has allowed us to work in a certain manner.
And was it a planned idea or project, or it just happened one fine day?
Likewise, I said once I saw this material, and I had been thinking about the edge grains of this material, how beautiful they are, and it probably cooked in my head somehow to become part of a series.
So you might have worked outside India also. So tell us, in 5 to 10 years, in Ahmedabad, what type of architectural designs that you see will be coming, or will be more frequently seeing those type of designs in coming 5 to 10 years? Or where do you see Ahmedabad
I'm
going?
probably the wrong guy to answer that, because I've never put myself to think that this is the future. And I don't believe in that idea. So probably in the next 10 years, we will have a lot of glass buildings. Probably the concrete and the brick architecture will continue. A lot of trends will come into place. Everybody wants a trendy home nowadays. So we are catching up with Mumbai and Delhi and things like that for trends. But still, a lot of architects here are continuing that idea of classic or understated architecture, where the spaces are quite minimal. I think what is happening currently, which will define where we are after 10 years, is overload of information. So architecture and designing, to an extent, is becoming, maybe I'm using a wrong word, confused, but it's becoming, or it's going all over the place.
Haywire.
It's completely haywire. If you tell an interior designer or an architect that I want a colonial house, they'll say, okay, I'll make a colonial house. They'll say, I want Greek house, they'll make a Greek house. They say, I want this house, they'll make a Greek house. Because everything is because of social media. So the clients are looking at images and then going to the architect that, this is what I want. It should be the other way around. It should be, okay, I like this kind of a space. I'm not saying colonial is bad. I'm not saying Greek is bad. I'm not saying concrete is bad or this is. But you need to have a vision for your project. It's a house, it's a school, it's a college, it's a hospital. There's a vision. And you find the right person for that vision. Then you allow that person to show you what he can do with your vision. And that creates good architecture. Now, if Nehru didn't have vision to bring, and I think Nehru brought him, Nehru didn't have vision to bring Louis Kahn for IIM, IIM would have been a different thing. And Ahmedabad would have been a different place. If the mill owners didn't think about bringing, or or I think Nehru also part of it, of bringing Le Corbusier to India. We wouldn't have had Chandigarh, we wouldn't have had Mill Owners Association or the buildings we have in Ahmedabad in terms of modern architecture and pure modern architecture, because it came from the masters themselves. Now, they didn't show him images.
True.
They didn't show him, I want a brick building. They didn't show him, I want a concrete building. They brought them because their vision was being, or they thought their vision will be delivered by someone who is visionary
Visionary.
in their own, but that kind of visionary, because it's not that he couldn't have brought anybody other than Le Corbusier. He could have brought someone else as well. You know, for example, if he would have brought Frank Lloyd Wright, it would have been a different world. India would have been a different place, or Ahmedabad would have been a completely different place. So imagine how a person's vision as a client and the selection of the architect based on that vision do. Nowadays, a lot of people go to an architect for delivery. They don't want a thinking person. They want someone who can deliver that image. You know, ओ Pinterest में ये देखा, अरे Instagram पे ये देखा, अरे उसमें आर्च है तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, अरे इसमें स्क्वायर है तो बहुत अच्छा लगा. How do you put together? Because there is no vision. So even us, whenever clients have come to us with a vision, it has always turned out to be a project which I have enjoyed. See, a project is good, bad, it's for someone else to do. But the process which I have enjoyed, the work I have enjoyed, the making I have enjoyed, and I'm sure the client have enjoyed the same process. It's only when architects become delivery boys or delivery girls, that's where everything becomes. And we are moving towards that very, very fast. We are moving there faster than I thought we should move. So I'm wearing blinkers currently, or we are wearing blinkers currently as a practice, and we are trying not to fall into that. And I don't care how it will be 10 years down the line. I care what I'm thinking now, and I care that I keep thinking the same way in terms of not the same thing, but same way in terms of that, okay, there are certain ethics which we want to keep as ethics until I'm proved wrong that these ethics are wrong. I'll try and keep it.
Maybe is it because of a lot of information that the clients have, and easy information, so that is why they...
I would say easy information, but distracted information. You know, we are looking something today, sorry, you are in this business, but you know, there are so many new materials which come your way, and everybody's, oh, there's this new material, let's use it. But why do you want to use it? That new material today is old tomorrow, and it will be old faster than you think it will be.
True.
Rather, let's just use wood. You know, it's been there for thousands of years, it will continue to be there thousands of years. Forget about the new material, you know.
Nice.
So because of this quick, you know, gratification kind of a world we are living in, because of this free information we get, is driving at every decision we make as designers, which is problematic.
So you tell to your clients, like whenever you say yes for a project, like see, I'll not follow these things.
I do.
I'll prefer a free hand for my projects.
See, I don't say I prefer a free hand for sure, but I do say that we will look at what you send us. We will look at it purely as an impression what's in your mind. We will not look at it as material. We'll probably not look at it as shape. We will not look at it as size. But sometimes they are not able to explain themselves. So they're like, Jwalant, something like this. So I look at something like this as a vibe, or as
maybe a common language that they want to share something which is there in their mind.
So in that sense. But and sometimes I even tell them that, no, this is, you know, AI can generate whatever you want. You know. So, and sometimes, see, I like a shirt. I like a trouser. And I have 10 shirts in my cupboard and I have 10 trousers in my cupboard. But all 10 will not go with all 10.
True.
I have to match that this will go with this. Doesn't mean the others are not good. So in a space, if I have to put 5 teams together, they need to talk to each other. Like there has to be a dialogue. It cannot be by that, okay, मुझे ये भी पसंद है वो भी पसंद है दोनों मेरे कमरे में रख दो भाई कैसे रख दो. It has to. So that's why you have good dressed people who are very well dressed and some people are not very well dressed because some people are aesthetically matured. Some people are not aesthetically matured.
And maybe
that is where we come into picture. But there has to be a trust. There has to be an immense trust because we are handling a lot of money, which is not our money.
It is their money.
It is their money. They will use it because it's all going into their projects. So they're going to use it. But are we doing justice to their money and giving them the right way how they are using it? So it is a difficult task to do, and that's why a lot of people stop at a stage where you can't push beyond. And I'm one of them. You can't push beyond. So not about spending their money, but where they want to spend. So at some point you think, yaar, uska paisa hai, he likes this. Should he just take it? So you have to keep talking to yourself also that, okay, try and figure out a way to talk him out of it, or try and figure out a way to talk him into it to buy it, or try and figure out a way so that, two people in a project as husband and wife, or father and son, or whoever that relationship is, we bring them on the same page because both will have their own, everybody has their dream. Everybody has a dream. An educator will have a dream of a school. A housewife or a lady of the house has a dream of a house. A guy has a dream of a house. All these dreams are very different. Even if they're husband and wives, their dreams are completely different. So where you bring all this information you get, which is not a direct information, but it's information you try and figure out, to put together and create something where you don't get into this information load to make it easier.
Tell us any tips if you want to share. Someone, say for example, who is making their house or office. So say for example, someone who is making their house. So tell us few of the tips that an end client should keep in their mind when they are making their house.
Difficult thing. I think one tip I would give to any client is finalizing on a designer for a house is a very, very important task. It should not be based on the money they charge, either less or more. It should not be based on that he's famous, let's just go to him. Or it should not be based on he's young, let's go to him because he will agree to everything we do. It's like a marriage. The two people will be talking to each other several times over whatever the period it is. Let's say if it's a 3 months, 4 months project, it's a fast project, you'll talk more. If it's a 1 year project, 2 year project, 3 year project, sometimes 10 year project, you need to be able to come on the same page and discuss. Same page in the sense, the same amount of respect you are able to give each other. If you think, naya architect hai chota sa, hum bolenge kar lega, then if you are not giving him that respect, you will not get worth of it. If the guy is too big as an architect, maybe you are not able to completely put yourself out because you are too over-dominated by the architect. Sometimes that also happens. So, it is purely a marriage you are getting into because if not handled well, you'll get into fights. You'll have good days, bad days. It has to...
So your wavelength should match with them.
With that, that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, does his work impresses you in a way of what you are looking for? Because you go to an architect, let's say someone like me, who does not know how to do a different kind of a job. Let's say you say, "Mujhe haveli bana ke do," Rajasthani with lot of carving. Let's say I want to do it, but I don't have a knowledge how to do it, or I've not that I should have done it before, but is that enough in my work to show you that I will be able to cross the boundary I'm working with to give you that. Now, we have done a lot of projects which we never did before and delivered it successfully. But there was enough within our work to inform that. So that's very, very important. So it should purely be based on your vision. If that architect is able to, convert that vision into a reality, and if this is, the guy or a girl you want to really marry for 2 years.
So, tell us one thing that you practice and which keeps you constantly ahead of the competition. Or let me put it the other way, not the competition, but something to improve yourself. What one thing that you constantly practice?
I think one thing I always practice is I don't want to be okay with whatever is in front of me. I want to make sure that I have given enough thought to what is going out as a drawing, as whatever, that will make sure that I'm conscious of what I'm building. That is enough for me. I don't care about the competition as much, because that puts you in a thought process of overdoing somebody. That somebody will be overtaken by somebody else. So you are always overtaken by someone. You cannot play that game.
True.
But today's work should be exciting enough for me that tomorrow morning I'm back doing that same work without thinking, why do I have to do that work? So for me, it has been like that. Probably it has never occurred to me, why do I need to go to office today? Or why do I need to do this today? Probably I've thought, why do I need to do this meeting today? The meeting is not required. But that is part and parcel of whatever. So if we make what is in front of us interesting enough, I think we are constantly upgrading ourselves. Because to make something interesting is to add a new flavor to it. Because what I've done yesterday, if I have to do the same thing, I'm not making anything interesting.
True.
Right? So in my case, the little bit here, there, sometimes very small things which might not affect the larger part of it, but it's interesting to try a detail. It's interesting. Sometimes it's a larger idea. Sometimes it's a smaller tidbits here. That's important for me. So every day should be something which has allowed me to grow as a person, as a designer, as a thinker. That will make sure that my car doesn't run out of steam.
So this brings to another question: how do you balance between like answering phone calls or problem solving and the time that you take off for thinking about the designs?
What I've started to do is that if I'm really enjoying the process, so if you're thinking and if it's going in the right direction, you start to enjoy the process. Or you are too frustrated and you want to keep thinking. So these are two extremes. If that is happening, I'll not answer the phone. I'll say I'll call you back.
Okay.
Luckily now, we have people in the team where people can, the client can call, or the contractor can call, or the site can call, or the vendor can call. Whoever needs to reach us can call and they can answer. But they also face the same problem as I do. So I have solved my problem. I have not solved their problem, which is also problematic because they are thinking as much as I am thinking. But I have stopped answering calls if I need to attend to something right now which I'm already attending. I just say I'll call back later, and I always do. All my WhatsApp notifications are closed. WhatsApp message notifications are closed. So that even looking at the phone
is a
because
distraction.
see, if I look at a name, it
Thoughts.
generates
Ah.
a certain kind of emotion in me.
True.
You know, if you look at a from afar, probably it will scare you, or it will look at someone else, probably, it will make you happy. Or bank ka message, I credited 10 lakh rupees, you'll become happy. So there is always an emotion to a message, right?
True.
So there is something which comes on your screen or around you is an emotion. You see a person walk into your office and you, last site visit, you were really he messed up something or you messed up something and you had a fight. So you try and keep everything as away as possible to focus on what's at hand. We have started to do that slowly. At least I've been able to manage some bit of it because of all the switched off notifications. To be present where I am, even if I'm in a meeting. Let's say I'm meeting with a client for a selection. The moment something else calls and I talk on the phone and I've forgotten what I was thinking. Was I thinking about the floor? Was I thinking about the roof? I have to decide certain things with them because they only are giving me 2 hours. I am giving them 2 hours. Everything multiplies. So this access to anybody anytime has really hindered the chain of thought which is required, which is very, very important as a designer.
So do you consciously plan certain hours of your day specifically for the thinking process, or it just happens? Like whenever you are free, you just switch off everything and you start thinking?
I've not been able to give a certain amount of my time to thinking. I'm always thinking. But there are certain times where I feel super inspired. I have cancelled meetings during that time, that I have told clients that, no, I'm feeling very inspired. Let's meet after 3-4 days. Only when it's not possible, then I take that meeting because they are not able to give me another time. I take that meeting. But if I feel inspired, I will cancel everything.
Oh, nice.
I'll think, okay, today is an inspired day. Let's just sit and design. Let's just sit and work something. Let us sit and solve a problem. Sometimes in between work, something as inspired, you draw, you give it to someone. So it cannot be planned. You cannot plan when an idea comes. I've seen something here, probably a material, it might click after a month. So you cannot really plan that. I'm not able to plan that.
So with this, we come to the end of this episode of the Plymart Show. Thank you, Jwalant, for being with us. It was a very pleasant meeting you and knowing a lot of things about you. So thank you so much for being over here.
Thanks for having me. I think it was an interesting set of questions. I think it was fun.
Super. Thank you so much. Thank you all. If you liked our video, do share it with your friends, do follow our page and do follow our channel for more such exciting content. See you all in the next podcast. Till then, keep on approaching conventional problems with unconventional methods. Thank you.